The absence of a leader is not a vacuum, but a heavy entity. True power is often found in the space where someone should have been. Trace the remnants of life in the silence. A cooling cup of tea tells the story of a master who chose to step into the shadows. Excessive presence is a form of value inflation. When you are everywhere, you are nowhere. When you withdraw, your value begins to crystallize and harden. The most terrifying weapon is not the sword being brandished in the light, but the empty chair in a meeting of life and death. While the world screams for attention, the architect of strategy understands that silence is the ultimate form of control over the chaotic noise. Time bends around the void. Each tick of the clock measures not the passing minutes, but the growing anxiety of those left behind to wait. You must understand the gravity of strategic absence. It is the weight that pulls the focus of every room toward the person who isn't there. To be irreplaceable, one must first be willing to be missing. Your presence must be a gift, not a constant noise in the background. Consider the boardroom, where the most important voice is the one that remains unheard. That silence dictates the terms of the entire engagement. Absence creates a ghost that haunts the decisions of others. They begin to negotiate not with you, but with the memory of your power. The paradox is simple. The more you retreat strategically, the more your influence expands to fill the resulting gap in the social fabric. Systems are built on gears of interdependence. Every part relies on the next to maintain the illusion of a functioning, perpetual motion machine. But what happens when the linchpin decides to step out? The machine does not stop immediately. It begins to lose its inherent structural logic. The system doesn't die when you leave. It becomes meaningless. You haven't destroyed the machine. You have simply removed its soul and purpose. Friction increases where there was once harmony. Without the central axis, every other component struggles to justify its own continued frantic movement. On the grand chessboard, the loss of the queen doesn't just reduce the force, it paralyzes every other piece with the fear of vulnerability. They stand frozen, waiting for a command that will never come. The absence of the strategist is the ultimate checkmate against the entire board. This is the deadlock strategy. By removing the vital element, you create a crisis that cannot be solved by simply adding more secondary parts. The cost of your absence is the measure of your true worth. If the machine continues without a hitch, you were never the linchpin. Desperation sets in when the masters of the system realize they cannot replicate the specific frequency of the part that chose to vanish. The mechanical metaphor extends to the digital and political realms. Everything is connected by invisible threads of necessity and strategic reliance. The deadlock is a mirror. It forces the system to look at its own fragility and recognize who truly held the power all along. Look at the geopolitical theater. When a giant goes silent, the ripples are felt across borders, turning certainties into desperate, unanswered questions. A silent grid is a dying grid. When the flow of energy is interrupted by a strategic withdrawal, the light of civilization begins to dim. Canada acts as the silent predator in this regional experiment. It doesn't roar, it simply sinks beneath the surface, leaving a mirror-calm lake. The most terrifying moment is not when the predator attacks, but when you no longer know exactly where it is hiding in the dark. In the industrial heartlands, the silence is deafening. Assembly lines stand like skeletal remains of a future that has been abruptly canceled. Value is often measured by the pain of loss. Without the quiet partner, the loud giant realizes how much of its strength was borrowed. The matrix of global trade is a fragile web. When one major node goes dark, the entire network enters a state of high-velocity decay. A black hole doesn't need to move to destroy. Its mere existence, defined by its emptiness, bends everything around it into its own orbit. Canada is teaching the Matrix a lesson. Your dominance is a hallucination that depends on my quiet cooperation. I am the silent foundation. When the foundation shifts, the skyscraper doesn't just shake. It realizes that its height was always a debt owed to the earth below. Every system has a kill switch. Sometimes that switch isn't a button you press, but a person who simply stops showing up to work. The withdrawal is a declaration of independence. It is the moment the subordinate realizes they were actually the one providing the life support. Watch the panic rise in the eyes of those who thought they were in control. Their spreadsheets cannot account for a total lack of engagement. The tension of silence is far more effective than the noise of negotiation. It forces the other side to fill the void with their own fears. In the age of information, withholding the key piece of data is the ultimate form of leverage. Silence is the most expensive commodity. The gate has been shut, not by an enemy, but by the one who held the keys and decided they no longer wanted to play. Remember this equation. Your value is not what you bring to the table, but the size of the hole you leave when you depart. The giant is paralyzed. It waits for a signal that will not come, realizing its internal engine was always powered by an external source. The experiment is complete. The results are clear. The power of the retreat is absolute, a gravity that pulls all attention back to center. We enter the phase of the ripple effect. When a primary link breaks, the secondary and tertiary connections begin to fail in a predictable sequence. The desperation of the dependent is a tragic sight. They try to mend the broken vessel with pieces that no longer fit the original design. They realize too late that their survival was an act of grace. Your presence was a gift they mistook for a permanent right. Under the microscope of crisis, the essential is separated from the ornamental. Only the rare and the necessary maintain their inner glow. Your power doesn't just exist, it exerts pressure. It demands recognition by the sheer force of its essential nature and its potential absence. Dependency is a trap. The more a system relies on a single point of failure, the more power that point holds, even when it is silent. You are reversing the flow of expectations. By withdrawing, you reclaim the time and energy that was previously being drained by the ungrateful system. Your shadow grows longer as you walk away. The memory of your contribution becomes a standard that no one else can hope to meet. Every chain is only as strong as its weakest link, but it is defined by its most essential one. If that link vanishes, the chain is useless. The dependents are lost in the maze. They spent so long following your lead that they forgot how to navigate the world without your guidance. The weight of absence is ironically light for the one who leaves, but it falls like a mountain of lead upon those who remain. Lock the door behind you, not out of spite, but to ensure that the value of the room is remembered the next time it is opened. An empty throne is the most provocative image in politics. It invites chaos, but it also proves that the throne was only gold because of the sitter. When you go, you take their future with you. You take the certainty of their plans and replace it with the cold fog of doubt. You were the compass. Without you, the entire organization is just a group of people moving in circles, mistaking activity for actual progress. The lighthouse has gone dark. The ships at sea now realize that the safety they took for granted was a constant effort on your part. The music has stopped. The harmony of the system is replaced by a jarring silence that highlights every flaw and every missing piece. Walk into your own fog. Let them wonder. Let them speculate. Your silence is a mirror that reflects their own deepest insecurities back at them. The covenant of presence is broken. Now begins the new era of negotiation, where the terms will be dictated by the one who left. We reach the summit of the great withdrawal. This is the covenant of inner strength, where the soul finds peace in its own isolation. The transition is complete. From the darkness of the war room to the purity of the heights, you have traded noise for absolute clarity. Stand still while the world around you rages. Your stillness is not a lack of movement, but a mastery of internal energy and focus. You look at the city, but you do not belong to it. You are the observer who holds the power to switch off the lights if you choose. This is the real test of your existence. If you vanished today, would the world become brighter, or would it simply lose its structural integrity? Do not fear being forgotten. Fear being present and yet easily replaceable. Your goal is to become the source that everyone secretly craves. Knowledge is power, but the application of silence is wisdom. You are writing your own legend in the margins of the world's history. The great withdrawal is not an end, but a transformation. You are moving from a state of doing to a state of being. Cultivate your inner strength in the cracks of the system. Let your power be organic, quiet, and undeniable to those who behold it. You have become the linchpin of your own life. No longer a gear in someone else's machine, you are the architect of your own frequency. Silence is the sanctuary of the powerful. In the quiet, you find the resonance that the rest of the world has long since lost. The time for words has passed. The strategy is set. The void is waiting for your next move or your continued silence. Silence. Absolute. The weight of the absence is now yours to carry and yours to wield as the ultimate leverage. Who are you when the world isn't watching? Are you the master of the void or just another piece of the noise? The gravity of strategic absence. Are you replaceable? Confirm your frequency. The architect has left the building.